Hello everyone, welcome to history class. Today we are going to continue lesson 9 of history, socio-religious reforms. Socio means related to society, religious means related to religion, and reforms means changes brought for betterment. That means we are going to discuss about the changes which were brought for the betterment in the society as well as in the religion. The main objectives of the lesson are you will come to know about anti-sati movement, widow remarriage movement, Ramakrishna mission, Theosophical Society, movement against child marriage, women's education movement, caste reforms, Sikh reform movements, reform among Muslims and Parsis. Earlier we had discussed about anti-sati movement and widow remarriage movement. And today the topic of the day is Ramakrishna Mission, Theosophical Society, Movement Against Child Marriage, and Women's Education Movement. The main objectives of today's topic are you will come to know about Ramakrishna Mission, Swami Vivekanand, Annie Besant, Movement Against Child Marriage, and Women's Education Movement, which includes higher education and women authors. But before discussing these topics, let us recall definitions and cross questions related to the previous topics. Definitions: reform, reformer, polygamy, campaign, idolatry, and child marriage. Now answer these cross questions. Name some social evils which were prevalent in India during 19th century. Who introduced the reform movements in India? When was Brahmo Samaj established? Name the Governor General who was against the practice of sati. Which Indian reformer took the lead in the widow remarriage movement? Who founded the Arya Samaj? Which schools were opened by the Arya Samaj? Now let us discuss new words related to today's topic. Successor, a person who takes over and continues the role or position of another. Philosophy, a theory or attitude that acts as a guiding principle for behavior. Theosophy, a religion established in the United States during the late 19th century. Theosophical Society, a worldwide body founded in 1875 with aim to advance the ideas of theosophy. Social customs. Social customs are actions, behavior, and standards that are shared and expected of a particular culture. Autobiography, an account of person's life written by himself or herself. Vedas. The Vedas are the religious texts originated in ancient India. As we know that in the 19th century, there were many social evils prevalent in the Indian society. The practice of sati, child marriage, and female infanticide were very common. The widows were not allowed to remarry. Meanwhile, a new class of people emerged in India. They took to Western education. They argued about the evils of the existing social practices. They felt the need to eradicate these evils. They launched movements for social reforms. These movements produced mixed results. Now let us read and discuss about various reformers and different movements launched for religious and social reforms in India. Ramakrishna Mission. Swami Vivekananda established the Ramakrishna Mission in 1897. It was situated at Belur on the banks of the Ganges River near Calcutta, the present-day Kolkata. The society was founded to fulfill two aims: to spread the teachings of his Guru Saint Ramakrishna and to improve the social conditions of the people. Basically, Ramakrishna Mission is a Hindu religious and spiritual organization which forms the core of a worldwide spiritual movement known as Ramakrishna Movement or Vedanta Movement. The mission is named after and inspired by the Indian saint Ramakrishna Paramhans and founded by Ramakrishna's chief disciple Swami Vivekananda on 1st May 1897. It was situated at Belur on the banks of the river Ganga near Calcutta, the present-day Kolkata in West Bengal. This society was founded mainly to fulfill the two objectives. The first objective of the society was to propagate the teachings of Ramakrishna Paramhans, and the second aim or objective of the society was to improve the social conditions of the people living in India. And the main motto of the society was for one's own salvation and for the good of the world. Now let us read and discuss about Ramakrishna Paramhans. Ramakrishna was a religious person. He realized through his experience that all religions are paths to the same goal. He believed that real knowledge could be achieved through meditation and devotion. He regarded humans as the symbol of God and therefore emphasized on the provision of service to humans. Ramakrishna Paramhans, a priest and a saint, was the most significant socio religious reformer of the 19th century. He had no formal education, but by his holy life, simplicity of character, homely wisdom, and his teachings, won the hearts of many. He felt through his experience that all the religions were just different ways of reaching one goal, and that one goal was God, realization, or salvation. He felt service to man was service to God, and that spiritual values must be preserved. He had a small, devoted band of disciples. Disciples means followers. The young Narendranath Datta became the most famous. He was given the name Vivekanand by Ajit Singh, the king of Khetri. Khetri is a town in Rajasthan. Means Ramakrishna Paramhans had a small band of young followers. Among those young followers, Narendranath Datta became the most famous. Basically, one day, a young lad of 18 named Narendranath Datta came to meet Sri Ramakrishna Paramhans. This meeting completely transformed him and he became his disciple. When his Guruji, Ramakrishna Paramhans, passed away in August 1886, at that time Narendranath Datta took a vow of sannyas and also a new name by which the world knows him, that is Swami Vivekanand, and this name was given to him by the king of Khetri, Ajit Singh. And the word Vivekanand means bliss of discerning wisdom. Swami Vivekanand. Ramakrishna chose Vivekanand as his successor. Successor means a person who succeeds the another person. He is known for his inspiring speech in the Parliament of World's Religions in Chicago, 11 till 27 September. Here he introduced Hindu philosophy to the West. He was the true founder of India's unity as a nation. Means among the small band of the young disciples, Ramakrishna chose Swami Vivekanand as his successor. So, Swami Vivekanand became one of the greatest interpreters of the philosophy of the Upanishads and followed his Guru's teachings. He represented India at the Parliament of World Religions held at Chicago in the United States of America in 1893. At Chicago, he introduced Hindu philosophy to the West. He explained the true wisdom of the Hindu religion and culture and won the hearts of all who came to attend the Parliament of World Religions held at Chicago in United States of America in the year 1893. He is perhaps best known for his speech which began with the words Sisters and Brothers of America, in which he introduced Hinduism at the Parliament of the World's Religions. He taught how feelings of humanity and brotherhood could bind the diverse people of India. Throughout his life, he tried to revive the pride of Indians in their culture. Like his guru, he served the mankind. He died in 1902. Means Swami Vivekanand aroused the feelings of humanity and brotherhood among the Indians. So we can say that he was the true founder of India's unity as one nation. Moreover, he taught how the feelings of humanity and fraternity could bind the people of the different religions living in a particular country. Like Ramakrishna Paramhans, Swami Vivekanand too served the humanity throughout his life. He was the founder of Ramakrishna Mission and on 4th July 1902 he died at Belur Mutt in Bengal, the present day Kolkata in West Bengal. Now let us read and discuss about Theosophical Society. Basically, the Theosophical Society was founded in 1875 and it is a worldwide body with aimed to advance the ideas of theosophy. And theosophy was a religion established in the United States during the late 19th century. Annie Besant. Annie Besant was born in London. She was the president of the Theosophical Society, which was founded by Madame Blavatsky, Colonel Olcott, and a number of other individuals in New York, USA. Annie Besant was a prominent theosophist, women's rights activist, writer, and orator. Along with her theosophical activities, Annie continued to participate in concrete political struggle. She was born in London and became the president of Theosophical Society, and she came to India in 1893. Basically, Theosophical Society was founded by Madame Blavatsky. Madame Blavatsky was a Russian philosopher and author who co-founded Theosophical Society in 1875. Along with her, Colonel Olcott, who was an American military officer, journalist, lawyer, and the co-founder and the first president of Theosophical Society, and many other individuals in New York, combiningly founded Theosophical Society. Annie Besant set up the headquarters of the Theosophical Society in India at Adyar, Madras. She created tremendous enthusiasm among people through her speeches and writings. She opened schools for boys and girls. She established the Central Hindu College at Banaras, the present-day Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh. Means Annie Besant was the first who set up the headquarters of the Theosophical Society in India at Adyar, Madras, the present-day Chennai in Tamil Nadu. The main aim of this society was to advance the ideas of theosophy. Moreover, she also created immense energy among the people of India through her speeches and writings. As an editor of a newspaper, New India, she attacked the British government of India and called for a clear and decisive moves towards self-rule. She also propagated her views through her writings in English. And moreover, she opened schools for both boys and girls in India. And she established the Central Hindu College at Banaras, the present-day Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh. Now let us read and discuss about movement against child marriage. Child marriage was a form of a marriage in which a child was married before the age of 18. And the custom of child marriage is a social evil. Custom means tradition or practice. Brahmo Samaj took the lead and started a campaign against child marriage. Several reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Dayanand Saraswati, and Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar launched movements against child marriage. They demanded a law to end the custom of child marriage. Means during the 19th century, most children were married off at a very early age, and this is considered as a social evil. And Brahmo Samaj was the first who took the lead and started different movements against the social evil of child marriage. Brahmo Samaj was founded in 1828 by Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and many other reformers like Dayanand Saraswati, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Swami Vivekanand, etc. launched various movements against the child marriage. These all reformers were against the child marriage, and they all demanded for a law to end the custom of child marriage. By the efforts of Behramji Mehlbari, the Age of Consent Act was passed in 1891. Behramji Mehlbari was an Indian poet, author, and social reformer, best known for his ardent advocacy for the protection of the rights of women and for his activities against child marriage. And the Age of Consent Act 1891 was also known as Act 10th of 1891, and it was a legislation enacted in British India on 19th March 1891. So with the efforts of Behramji Mehlbari, the Age of Consent Act was passed in India in the year 1891. However, some Indians protested against government interference. They wanted the British not to change Indian religious and social customs. The passage of the Sharda Act in 1929 was a landmark to curb child marriage. Curb means suppress or stop. According to this act, the marriageable age for girls was fixed at 14 years and 18 years for boys. The act is also known as the Child Marriage Restraint Act. Means many of the Indians were against the government interference. Basically, at that time in India, the British government was ruling, and the Indians didn't want the British to interfere in their religious and social customs. So, the passage of the Sharda Act in 1929 was a turning point to stop the child marriage in India. So, the Sharda Act was also popularly known as the Child Marriage Restraint Act 1929, and it was passed on 28 September 1929. According to this act, the age of marriage was fixed for both boys and girls. That means the age of marriage of a girl at 14 and the age of marriage of a boy at 18 was fixed. Now let us read and discuss about women's education movement. Women in India were denied formal education for a long time. Denied means refused. Some people felt the need of education to improve the condition of women. Henry Louis Vivian Diorosio was among the first to campaign for women's education. His followers were called Dioresians. He started the Young Bengal movement to fight against social evils. Means during the 19th century, the Indian women were not allowed to take the formal education for a long time. Some Indians realized the need of education to improve the condition of women. Henry Louis Vivian Diorosio was the first who started campaign for women education in India. Basically, Henry Louis Vivian Diorosio was an Indian poet of Portuguese origin and assistant headmaster of Hindu College, Kolkata. He was the first Indian educator to spread the Western learning and science among the young men of Bengal, and his followers were famously known as Diorosians. Long after his death, the legacy lived among his former students, who came to be known as Young Bengal, and many of whom became prominent in social reforms, law, and journalism. He started the Young Bengal movement in India to fight against the social evils which were prevalent during the 19th century. Other than this, to improve the condition of women in India, many schools were set up by the Christian missionaries for the girls, and the most establishing and important landmark in girls' education was the foundation of Bethune School in Kolkata by J.E.T. Bethune. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar carried on the work after Bethune's death. He set up 35 girls' schools in Bengal between 1857 and 1858 with his own money. This was a great contribution towards girls' education. Moreover, Savitri Bai Phule was the first women teacher in Maharashtra, and in 1848, Savitri Bai Phule, along with her husband Jyoti Rao Phule, opened 5 schools for girls in and around Pune. Now let us read and discuss about higher education. Several college courses were started in 1879. Bethune was the first to start these courses. In 1880s, Bethune College produced the first female graduate, Kadambini Ganguly, born Kadambini Basu. She also became the first female physician of India. Means in 1879, many college courses were started in India, and Bethune was the first to start these courses in India. John Eliot Drinkwater Bethune was an educator, mathematician who is known for his contributions in promoting women's education in India. He was the founder of Calcutta Female School, now known as Bethune College in Calcutta, the present-day Kolkata in West Bengal. It is considered as the oldest college for women in Asia. Bethune started his life as a lawyer in England and came to India by virtue of his appointment as a law member of the Governor General's Council of Ministers. His efforts in further women's education were actively supported by Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, and other members of the Bengali Renaissance. So, in 1880s, Bethune College produced the first female graduate, Kadambini Ganguly, who was one of the first female physicians from India as well as from the entire British Empire. She herself was also the first Indian as well as South Asian female physician trained in Western medicine to graduate in South Asia. So we can conclude that a notable development of this time was the leadership of women. Many of the Indian women promoted education and awareness among the other women. Raj Sundari Devi wrote Amar Jeeban in Bengali. She was a homemaker and it was her autobiography. Similarly, Tarabai Shinde wrote a book Sri Purush Tulna. She was a woman educated at home. Other than these women, Pandita Ramabai was the first woman to read the Vedas. After reading the Vedas, she challenged the orthodox people of the society. She wrote a book, High Caste Hindu Woman. In this book, she highlighted the problems faced by the widows in India. She also founded a widows' home in Pune, in Maharashtra. Now, I hope today's topics are clear to you. Your today's homework is to learn the related terms and try to solve the related back exercises.